Yes, hello everyone. Hope you are all doing well and welcome back to the channel and to this My Team series. We are here for round 6, which is the Singapore Grand Prix. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware, and you don't need me to tell you, that F1 2021 comes out next week. Wahey! But yeah, what does that mean for this series? Well, basically, we are going to do this episode like normal. So Saturday will be part 1, which you're currently watching, and then Sunday will be part 2. And then the final 4 races, I'm going to try and cram into one video, which will come out on Monday, which is technically the last day of F1 2020. So yeah, that'd be quite a cool idea, I thought, because it means that we can round out this season and ultimately this series and F1 2020 in general in one nice video. Technically, I haven't even started recording that video, so I've got no idea actually what happens in this season. So yeah, I guess we'll all see what happens on Monday. Anyway, let's get back to this episode and see what happened at the facilities. So we decided to do the chassis upgrade of fuel tank positioning, which should help with weight redistribution, which is good. And we also decided to do a power unit upgrade with the intercooler, which is for engine power. And they both should arrive before we go to the Singapore Grand Prix, which is great. We also had 5 million to spend on an upgrade for the facilities, so we did a quality control upgrade for the power unit factory, and basically that should mean that any power unit upgrade is a lot less likely to fail, which is cool. And speaking of parts failing, unfortunately the chassis upgrade did fail, and that's going to cost us 612 points to redo. But luckily for us, that will still arrive before the next Grand Prix. As always, before we head to the track on qualifying, we're just going to look at the performance index. And yeah, we've moved up further. We obviously knew that because we had upgrades, and we're much closer to Red Bull and Mercedes now, going into this Grand Prix. Anyway, that's going to wrap everything up at the facilities. So let's head to the track for qualifying at the Singapore Grand Prix. Alright, so here we go for our first lap in Singapore. So yeah, Singapore, quite an unusual track. It's very long for a street track. So the wall's very close, obviously, with a street track. You know, you can't make too many mistakes, obviously you will be in the wall, probably out the race. But yeah, 23 corners, that is quite a lot for an F1 track. As we do get a warning there for going a little bit too wide. Yeah, what was I saying? 23 corners, yeah, so quite a long track. So it is, you do have to have your wits about you because there's a lot of corners you have to deal with. Yeah, do I like it? Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss for me. Initially, I didn't like it when this first came out, this track, not in this game, but on previous games. I didn't enjoy it too much, but the more I've done it, the more I've got used to it and the better it is. I do think this part of the track, whereas it's 10, 11, 12, 13, especially going over the bridge, this is the worst bit for me. So easy just to knock the car and take a wheel off, and that's you done. The rest of the track is alright. Once you get into the flow of the race, I think it's alright. But yeah, coming up to turn 14, down to gear 3, nicely out wide to the apex there. And yeah, it's alright, this track. I think it gets a lot of hate. I do think it's definitely one of the trickier tracks to get used to. So, you know, I can understand why people don't like it because it is very annoying, similar to Monaco, but you can overtake. It's the only thing it does have over Monaco is that you can overtake. And there's 1 or 2 places where you can, whereas Monaco, I think it's nigh on impossible, really. As we're coming up to complete our first lap, luckily didn't go over the curbs too much, so that kind of unsettled the car, and we do a 134.426. Now, the reason I paused this is we're about to see one of the weirdest glitches I've seen on this game. So remember that time, 134.426, and we are currently 8th. Yeah, so here we go. So we're back to the pit. So I literally just drove back round, and we are now 5th. So we've gained 3 places, but we've done exactly the same time of a 1 minute 34.426. So I've never seen this before. And as you can see, Sergio Perez is now 15th, and he was like just behind us in 9th, I think. So everyone's time seems to be reset, or they've redone a random time, which is really weird. Never seen that before. The only other time I've seen that happen is when people skip to the end of the session. So they've just done one lap and then they skip, and sometimes it changes then. But yeah, never seen that before, just going back to the pits. Really weird. But yeah, anyway, that's how the first session finished. So we managed to finish 5th and our teammate was 6th, which was pretty cool. So we both got through all right. And then the only thing to notice is that the 6 cars that went out are pretty much exactly the ones we expected. The 2 Hasses, the 2 Alfa Romeos and the 2 Williams. So here we are in Q2. I'll try and walk you through a lap as best as I can. So coming up to turn 1, as soon as the black box goes out of your screen on the top right hand corner, you want to brake. Then you want to go, well, you want to get that a little bit tighter on turn 3 there. But yeah, not too bad through there. Again, the black box on here, just as that curve appears on your right hand side, down to gear 4 through turn 5. And then it's basically just nice and straight for a little while. Get your DRS open. Have a little think, and then the black box again seems to be a good braking reference point. Down to gear 3. I did cut that a little bit too much, got the rear out a little bit. Black box again on your left there. Down to gear 2, then you want to sweep out nice and wide. Black box again for braking point, and then that's gear 4. And coming up to the hardest part of the track for me here, not the black box this time around, 50 meters into turn 10, then down to gear 2, then back up to gear 3 quickly for turn 11 and 12. And then just as the wall on your right just goes past it there for turn 13, down to gear 1 to get extra rotation if you need it. You can do it in gear 2 sometimes. And then up to around 75 meters down to gear 2 again. You can do gear 3 there actually and push it out a little bit wider. So a little bit conservative, lost a little bit of time there. Down to gear 3 here, probably could get away with gear 2 if you just need to turn the car a little bit more. Again, black box. Down to gear 2. Hold it in gear 2, you can quickly shift up to gear 3. Try not to hit the wall out on the left hand side as you need to go wide for this last chicane. Gone a little bit too far over the curves, it's unsettled the car, so lost a little bit of time there. Gear 6, ease off the power a little bit, then back onto it, and that is a 1 lap, and that is a 1:33.887, which put us second, and that is how the session finished. So we're only 3/10 away from possibly getting pole if we do a similar lap to that, which is crazy. So our pace is pretty good this weekend, as our teammate also got through, as is kind of expected now, the car is not bad, in a P9. And then quickly looking at the 6 cars we've lost from this session, we've lost Sainz, Stroll, Grosjean, Hubert, Ocon, and lastly Alex Albon. Alright, so Q3, this is the big bucks, this is where the magic happens. If we have a good lap, I genuinely think we may be able to put it on pole. We'll have to see what we can do. As we go through the first 3 corners, that was much better than the last lap in Q2. Try not to go too wide here at turn 4, or was it turn 5? I think turn 4 is like a little kink or something, so that's actually turn 5. Yeah, you can go a little bit too wide there, as I think I did on the first run in Q1, and you can get a track limit, so you do need to be a little bit careful with that. Down to gear 3, you've gone a little bit too wide there actually. Gear 2 for this one, nice and tight to the wall, and then immediately sweep over to the other side of the track. Gear 4, you can sometimes, if you need to, drop it down to gear 3 just to turn the car a little bit. Sometimes it's a bit understeery, so yeah, if you can get away gear 4, you carry just more speed through there. This bit of the track is the most tricky, I think. This one, you can always hit this inside wall on the right there. Try and get it as straight as possible to brake. That's the quickest way to slow the car down for the hairpin. And then, yeah, the last section is basically just chicanes the whole way through, which isn't too bad. I've just realised we've done 2 purple sectors, so we're absolutely flying. So this one you've got to get right, because otherwise it can push you out too wide into this one, and you can kind of mess that up, or you could even get a track limits there as well, so you need to be careful. This one, don't go in too late, as you can hit that Fly Emirates wall, which isn't good. This one, again, that's much better. So if you get the first part of the chicane, you should be alright for the second part, and then just hold it in gear 6, take as much curve as you dare, and over the line, and we've done it at 1:33.4. We've absolutely smashed it, and we are currently on pole by 0.8 of a second. Now, I don't know what was going on here, but if we look at Lewis Hamilton, who's currently 3rd, he did a 1:33.5 last time, so he's a second slower than in Q2. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure if this is another glitch, but for some reason, everyone is super slow, and I've got no idea why. But hey, we're still currently P1, so I'll happily take that. But yeah, as we're coming out, I did decide just to check that everything's all right. And as you can see, yeah, it's still 105, so maybe the AI is just really slow around here. I've got no idea, but it just seems a little bit weird. But anyway, coming around for our last lap on a new set of tyres. We're currently up ever so slightly. We've done a purple sector 2. But yeah, messed up the last corner a little bit, and we didn't actually improve, unfortunately. And we did come pole. So that is unbelievable. That's our first pole position and basically on one of our last races of this series, which is really cool to see. So yeah, we're on pole. Ricciardo is second, Max Verstappen is third, and our teammate is 1.8 seconds slower than us in P10. Wow. Also, just to note that our rival Lando Norris is only 9th as well. So yeah, all in all, a very good day. I was not really expecting to be on pole, if I'm honest. This isn't my favourite track in the world, but yeah, absolutely smashed it. I just assumed that the AI is pretty slow because nothing else has changed. The car is still only the 3rd fastest car. I did think a podium possibly is on the cards, but now we got pole, you know, we might be able to get a race win tomorrow, which would just be amazing, really. I wouldn't really have thought that at all coming into this weekend, but yeah, great result. All right, so looking at the rivalry breakdown with Lando, we got 2 points to his 1, obviously, as we outqualified him. And that means we are now on 24 points to his 21. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to drop a like on it. And if you want to see more content like this and F1 2021 content, which comes out next week, then make sure you're subscribed to the channel. As always, guys, if you've got any questions or you just want to say hi, then drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Alrighty then, I've been Jumbo and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the race.